Terrifying AI, a necessity for gracious living. The Super Nintendo was a popular console known for its vast library of high-quality games, many of which are considered to be classics today. Overall, the SNES was a highly successful console that offered superior graphics, innovative controls, and a great selection of games that have stood the test of time. These aren't my words, but instead the words of ChatGPT, the eerie artificial intelligence chatbot developed by OpenAI. If this is your first time here and you want to see regular videos on quirky retro game history and topics around some of the best games ever, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so that you don't miss a thing. ChatGPT has been fine-tuned using both supervised and reinforced learning techniques. With this technology evolving so fast, many fear that we are on our way to living in an AI dystopia with the potential for artificial intelligence destroying all civilization as we know it. But who cares about any of that? Much more pressing questions need answering, such as, what are the 50 greatest Super Nintendo games according to ChatGPT? So without further ado, let's start this countdown and see if artificial intelligence can produce a better list than all of you puny humans put together. So let the computer-generated countdown commence. Number 50. Terranigma is a 1995 action role-playing game developed by Quintet and published by Enix. It was released exclusively in Japan and Europe and never saw a North American release. In Terranigma, players take on the role of a boy named Ark who is tasked with reviving the world by travelling through various regions and restoring life to them. The game features a real-time combat, puzzle solving and exploration elements. Terranigma is known for its complex story, memorable characters and stunning visuals. It is considered a cult classic among SNES fans and is highly regarded for its innovative gameplay mechanics and unique approach to storytelling. If you're a fan of classic RPGs, Terranigma is definitely worth checking out. Number 49. Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals, known as Lufia in Europe, is a role-playing video game developed by Neverland Co. The game follows the journey of Maxim, a swordsman, and his companions as they attempt to prevent the resurrection of the Sinistrals, a group of powerful beings who once tried to destroy the world. Along the way, the party must explore dungeons, solve puzzles, and battle a variety of monsters in turn-based combat. One of the unique features of Lufia 2 is its ancient cave mode, where players can explore a randomly generated dungeon with 99 floors. The mode features its own set of rules, including permadeath, meaning that if the player's party is wiped out, they must start from the beginning. Lufia 2 is known for its engaging story, memorable characters and challenging gameplay. It has since become a cult classic among retro gaming enthusiasts and remains a popular title among fans of the RPG genre. Number 48. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island is a 1995 platform video game. The game is a prequel to the original Super Mario World and it features Mario as a baby being transported by Yoshi across various levels in order to rescue his brother Luigi from the clutches of the evil Kamek. One of the unique features of the game is the use of a babysitting mechanic where the player controls Yoshi as he carries baby Mario on his back. The game also introduces new gameplay mechanics such as the ability to transform Yoshi into various vehicles and forms, as well as the use of eggs as projectiles. The game received critical acclaim upon its release and is considered one of the best platformers of all time. It has since been re-released on various Nintendo consoles, including the Game Boy Advance, Wii Virtual Console, and Nintendo Switch Online. Number 47. Tecmo Super Bow is a classic American football video game from 1991. It was developed by Tecmo and is considered one of the best sports games of all time. The game features all 28 teams from the 1990 NFL season and includes both the regular season and playoffs. It also has a Pro Bowl mode, where players can select the best players from each conference to play against each other. Tecmo Super Bowl is known for its fast-paced gameplay and arcade-style action, which made it a hit among football fans and video game enthusiasts. It also introduced many innovative features such as the ability to create custom plays and control individual players on the field. The game has remained popular and continues to be played today through emulators and classic gaming consoles. Number 46. Super Turrican 2 is a 2D side-scrolling action platformer video game developed by Factor 5. The game features the protagonist Bren Maguire, equipped with a powerful weapon called the Plasma Rope and a variety of other weapons as he fights his way through 6 different levels, battling against hordes of enemies and giant bosses. The game's levels are interconnected, allowing the player to backtrack and explore previous areas for hidden secrets and power-ups. Super Turrican 2 received positive reviews for its impressive graphics and sound, as well as its challenging gameplay and level design. It is considered by many to be one of the best platformers on the SNES. Number 45. Kirby's Dream Land 3 is a platformer developed by HAL Laboratory. The game follows Kirby and his friend Gooey as they embark on a quest to save the planet Popstar from destruction. Along the way, they meet various allies and confront a variety of bosses. One of the unique features of Kirby's Dream Land 3 is the ability to perform partnerships with various animal friends, each with their own special abilities. The game also features a unique art style with hand-drawn graphics that give it a distinctive look and feel. Overall, Kirby's Dream Land 3 is a charming and fun platformer that is beloved by fans of the Kirby series. Number 44. Goof Troop is a video game developed and published by Capcom. The game is based on the animated television series of the same name and features Goofy and his son Max as the main characters. In the game, players control either Goofy or Max as they explore different levels, solve puzzles and defeat enemies. The game is a combination of puzzle solving and action elements, with the two characters using different abilities to progress through the levels. Goof Troop is a classic game from the SNES era. If you're interested in playing it, you can find it on various online marketplaces. Number 43. Pocky and Rocky 2 is the sequel to the original Pocky and Rocky game, which was released in 1992. In the game, players control either Pocky or Rocky, two shrine maidens who must battle their way through various levels filled with enemies and obstacles. The game features both single-player and two-player co-op modes. The gameplay is similar to the original game, with the addition of new power-ups and abilities. Players can collect items that give them new weapons and abilities, such as a boomerang attack or a shield that protects them from enemy attacks. The game also features new bosses and enemies, as well as multiple paths through each level. Overall, Pocky and Rocky 2 is a fun and challenging game that is well regarded by fans. Number 42. Sunset Riders is a classic run-and-gun arcade game developed and published by Konami in 1991. The game was later ported to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1993. In Sunset Riders, you play as one of 4 gunslingers who must defeat a variety of enemies across different levels in the Wild West. Each character has their unique weapon and special abilities, which can be upgraded throughout the game. The SNES version of Sunset Riders features a 2-player co-op gameplay, allowing you and a friend to play together to take down the game's various bosses and enemies. The graphics and sound of the SNES version are also excellent, capturing the feel of the arcade original. Number 41. Super Double Dragon is a side-scrolling beat-em-up video game developed by Technos Japan. It is the 4th game in the Double Dragon series, and it features Billy and Jimmy Lee as they fight their way through levels filled with enemies. The game received positive reviews for its graphics, sound and gameplay, with many fans considering it one of the best beat-em-up games of its era. Super Double Dragon introduced new moves and features such as a power-up system that allows players to enhance their characters' abilities. The game's plot follows the Lee brothers as they attempt to stop the Shadow Warriors gang from taking over the city. Along the way they encounter a variety of enemies including martial artists, ninjas and even robots. Overall, Super Double Dragon is a classic example of the beat-em-up genre and remains a beloved game. Number 40. Super Return of the Jedi is the third and final game in the Super Star Wars trilogy, which is based on the original Star Wars trilogy of movies. In the game, players control the characters of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Chewbacca as they attempt to defeat the Galactic Empire and rescue Princess Leia. The game features platforming elements as well as space combat and puzzle solving. The game was well received by critics upon its release and is considered one of the best Star Wars video games of all time. Number 39. Super Empire Strikes Back, developed by LucasArts, is the second game in the Super Star Wars series and is based on the events of the Empire Strikes Back movie. In the game, players fight their way through various levels on different planets, including Hoth, Dagobah and Cloud City. Each character has unique abilities and weapons that can be upgraded throughout the game. The game features challenging platforming and action gameplay, as well as boss battles against iconic Star Wars villains such as Darth Vader. It also includes cutscenes and music from the movie to help immerse players in the Star Wars universe. Overall, Super Empire Strikes Back is a beloved classic. Number 38. Super Star Wars is a classic side-scrolling platformer game released in 1992. The game is based on the first Star Wars film, Episode 4, A New Hope, and follows the story of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Chewbacca as they attempt to destroy the Death Star and defeat the evil Empire. Players control Luke Skywalker and battle their way through a variety of levels, including the desert planet of Tatooine. Along the way, they must defeat a variety of enemies, including stormtroopers, Tusken Raiders, and even the mighty Darth Vader himself. The game features detailed graphics and sound effects, as well as challenging gameplay and a variety of power-ups and weapons to help players in their quest. Super Star Wars was widely praised upon its release and beloved among Star Wars fans and gamers alike. Number 37. Axelay is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up developed and published by Konami. The game features 6 levels, each with a unique design and boss. The player controls a space fighter called the Axelay, which can switch between 2 different weapon systems, a main gun and a secondary weapon. The main gun can be powered up by collecting power-ups, and the secondary weapon can be switched between 3 different types. Axelay was known for its impressive graphics and audio, and it received positive reviews upon its release. It was also one of the first games to use the SNES's Mode 7 graphics mode, which allowed for 3D-like effects on a 2D plane. Number 36. Demon's Crest is a 1994 platformer video game published by Capcom. In this game, the player controls Firebrand, a demon who has the ability to fly and breathe fire, as he travels through a dark and foreboding world filled with other demons and monsters. The game features a non-linear progression system that allows players to explore the game world at their own pace. Along the way, Firebrand can collect various power-ups and upgrades that increase his abilities and make him more powerful. The game is known for its challenging difficulty level and its hauntingly atmospheric graphics and music. It has since become a cult classic and is highly regarded. If you're interested in playing Demon's Crest, it is available on the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service as part of its Super Nintendo library. Number 35. Megaman 7 is a classic action platformer video game developed by Capcom. It is the 7th main installment in the Mega Man series and features the same gameplay as its predecessors, where players control the titular character Mega Man and must defeat a series of robotic bosses to acquire their special weapons and abilities. The game takes place in the year 20XX, where Dr. Wily has been captured and imprisoned by the authorities. However, a new villain named Bass, along with his partner Treble, appear and release 4 new robot masters to wreak havoc. Megaman must once again step up to stop them and ultimately confront bass and treble. The game also includes impressive graphics and sounds for its time, making it a popular title among fans of the series. Number 34. Super Off-Road is a classic arcade-style racing game that was first released in 1989 by the game development company Leland Corporation. In Super Off-Road, players race against each other on dirt tracks in a variety of off-road vehicles, including trucks and buggies. Players can earn money by winning races, which they can use to upgrade their vehicles or purchase new ones. The game also features power-ups such as speed boosts and invincibility that can give players an advantage on the track. Super Off-Road was praised for its fast-paced gameplay, competitive multiplayer, and addictive upgrade system. The game is beloved in the arcade racing genre. Number 33. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a classic game that was released in 1993. It is a top-down action game where players control a character who must rescue neighbors from hordes of zombies and other monsters. If your SNES game cartridge of Zombies Ate My Neighbors has been eaten by zombies, unfortunately there's not much that can be done to recover it. However, you may be able to find a replacement cartridge online or at a local retro game store. Alternatively, if you have access to a digital version of the game, you could play it on an emulator on your computer or other device. However, please note that downloading and playing ROMs of games you do not own is technically illegal and can lead to copyright infringement. Number 32. Super R-Type is a side-scrolling shooter developed and published by IREM. In Super R-Type, the player controls a spacecraft that can shoot various weapons and power-ups at enemies while navigating through levels filled with obstacles and enemy fire. The game is known for its challenging difficulty and intricate level design, as well as its use of the SNES's Mode 7 graphics technology to create rotating and scaling effects. Super R-Type received positive reviews upon its release and is considered a classic of the side-scrolling shooter genre. It has been re-released on several platforms, including the Nintendo Switch's online subscription service and the Wii's Virtual Console. Number 31. Super Adventure Island is a side-scrolling platform game developed and published by Hudson Soft. The game is the fourth installment in the Adventure Island series and features the series protagonist Master Higgins on a quest to save his wife Tina from the evil sorcerer Dark Cloak. In Super Adventure Island, players control Master Higgins as he runs, jumps, and uses various weapons to defeat enemies and bosses across several stages. The game features a tropical island setting with various environments such as beaches, caves, and forests. One unique feature of Super Adventure Island is that Master Higgins' health is represented by a hunger meter that slowly depletes over time. To keep his hunger meter full, players must collect fruit scattered throughout the stages. If the hunger meter is completely depleted, Master Higgins will start losing health until he finds food. Overall, Super Adventure Island is a fun, challenging platformer that was followed by several sequels and spin-offs and is still enjoyed by fans of retro gaming today. Number 30. SimCity is a city building simulation video game developed and published by Maxis in 1991. In SimCity for the SNES, players take on the role of a mayor and are tasked with building and managing a city. Players must make decisions on zoning, taxation, infrastructure development, and other factors that affect the growth and well-being of the city's population. The game features several scenarios with different objectives and challenges, such as dealing with natural disasters, economic downturns, and crime. Players can also create their own cities from scratch and customize various aspects of the game, including terrain, weather, and transportation. SimCity is considered one of the most influential simulation games of all time. Its legacy has spawned numerous sequels, and its gameplay mechanics have influenced many other simulation and strategy games. Number 29. Super Tennis is a sports game developed by Tokyo Shoseki and published by Nintendo. In Super Tennis, players can choose to play as one of several male or female characters, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The game features both singles and doubles matches, and players can compete in tournaments or exhibition matches. Super Tennis has simple and intuitive controls, with the player using the directional pad to move their character and the buttons to perform different types of shots, such as serves, volleys and smashes. The game also features a variety of court types, including clay, grass and hard court. Super Tennis was well received upon its release and is considered one of the best tennis games of its era. Number 28. Gradius III is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up video game developed and published by Konami. In Gradius III, players control the Vic Viper spaceship and must navigate through levels filled with enemy spacecraft and obstacles while collecting power-ups to upgrade their weapons and defences. The game features a variety of bosses and multiple paths through the levels, adding to the replay value. Gradius III was praised for its graphics, sound and gameplay, but also criticised for its difficulty level, which some players found to be too high. The game also introduced a new option power-up that allowed players to add additional satellites to their ship for increased firepower. Overall, Gradius III is considered a classic of the shoot-'em-up genre and remains popular today. Number 27. Harvest Moon is a farming simulation game that was originally released for the Super Nintendo. In the game, the player takes on the role of a young man who inherits a farm from his grandfather and must work to restore it to its former glory. The gameplay involves managing the farm by planting and harvesting crops, caring for animals and interacting with the townspeople. The player must also manage their time wisely, as each day only allows for a certain number of actions to be taken. Harvest Moon for SNES was the first game in the Harvest Moon series and has since become a beloved classic. It has been re-released on various platforms over the years, including the Virtual Console for the Wii and Wii U. Number 26. Final Fight is a classic beat-em-up video game developed and published by Capcom. It was originally released in the arcades in 1989 and later ported to various home consoles. In the SNES version of Final Fight, players take on the roles of vigilantes who are fighting to save their city from the evil Mad Gear Gang. The game features side-scrolling gameplay where players must move from left to right and defeat various enemies using punches, kicks and special attacks. However, due to memory constraints, the game had to be significantly pared down compared to its arcade counterpart. For example, some levels and enemies were removed and the number of on-screen enemies was reduced. Overall, Final Fight for the SNES is still regarded as one of the best titles in the genre. Number 25. Super Street Fighter II is a classic fighting game. The game features a roster of 16 playable characters, including popular fighters such as Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li and Guile, as well as 4 new characters, T-Hawk, Cammy, Fei Long and DJ. In Super Street Fighter II, players can choose to play in either single-player mode or 2-player versus mode. The objective of the game is to defeat all the opponents in the tournament to become the champion. The game features various moves and techniques that players can use to defeat their opponents, including special moves, combos and throws. Each character has their own unique set of moves and abilities, which adds to the game's replay value. Super Street Fighter II is considered one of the best fighting games of all time. Number 24. Illusion of Gaia, known as Illusion of Time in Europe, is a role-playing video game developed by Quintet and published by Enix. The game is part of the Soul Blazer trilogy, which includes Soul Blazer and Terranigma, both of which were also developed by Quintet. The game's story follows a young boy named Will as he embarks on a journey to save the world from destruction. Along the way, he is joined by several other characters, including a princess, a treasure hunter, and a shape-shifting creature. The game combines action-adventure gameplay with traditional RPG elements such as character development, exploration and puzzle solving. The game's combat system is real-time and features a variety of weapons and abilities that can be used to defeat enemies. The game's graphics and music were praised by critics at the time, and it has since become a cult classic. Number 23. ActRaiser is a video game developed by Quintet and published by Enix for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1990. The game combines side-scrolling action platforming with simulation and city building elements. In ActRaiser, the player controls the Master, a divine being tasked with restoring the world after it was taken over by evil forces. The game is divided into two main parts: an action platformer section where the player battles through levels, and a simulation section where the player must guide and protect a growing civilization. The game received critical acclaim for its unique gameplay and combination of genres. It is considered a classic of the SNES era. Number 22. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4: Turtles in Time is a side-scrolling beat-em-up video game that was originally released in arcades in 1991. It was later ported to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1992. The game was developed and published by Konami. In the game, players take control of one of the 4 Ninja Turtles and battle their way through various levels, fighting against enemies such as Foot Soldiers and Bebop and Rocksteady. The game's plot involves the Turtles being sent back in time by the villainous Shredder, and they must fight their way through various historical periods in order to return to the present. Known for its fun gameplay, colourful graphics and memorable soundtrack, Turtles in Time is considered one of the best games in the Ninja Turtles franchise. Number 21. Super Bomberman is a classic action-packed game developed by Hudson Soft. The game features the character Bomberman, who must navigate a maze-like arena, strategically place bombs and defeat enemies to progress through levels. In the game, the player must clear each level of enemies by strategically placing bombs to destroy obstacles and enemies. The ultimate goal is to defeat the boss at the end of each level to progress to the next one. Along the way, the player can collect power-ups such as increased bomb range or the ability to lay multiple bombs at once to aid in their progress. Super Bomberman also includes a multiplayer mode where up to 4 players can compete against each other in a Battle Royale style game. The game's catchy soundtrack and addictive gameplay have made it a beloved classic, and it remains a popular game to this day. Number 20. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a side-scrolling action game developed and published by Capcom. The game is the 3rd installment in the Ghosts and Goblins series and features the knight Arthur as the protagonist. In Super Ghouls and Ghosts, the player controls Arthur as he battles his way through various levels filled with monsters and traps. Arthur is armed with a variety of weapons, including a lance, a knife, and a powerful magic attack. He can also jump, double jump, and perform a special dash move. The game is known for its high level of difficulty, with enemies that can take multiple hits. The player must also complete the game twice in order to see the true ending. Despite its difficulty, Super Ghouls and Ghosts has become a classic of the era and is considered one of the best platformers of all time. It has been re-released on various platforms including the Wii U Virtual Console and the SNES Classic Edition. Number 19. Star Fox, known as Star Wing in Europe, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, is a rail shooter game developed by Nintendo EAD and Argonaut Software and published by Nintendo. The game follows Fox McCloud and his team of anthropomorphic animals as they pilot spacecraft known as R-Wings to defeat Andros, a mad scientist who threatens the Lilat system. One of the defining features of Star Fox on the SNES is its use of polygonal graphics, which was a relatively new technology at the time. The game also features an iconic soundtrack and voice acting, which was a rarity for games of that era. Star Fox on the SNES was critically acclaimed and commercially successful, selling over 4 million copies worldwide. It spawned several sequels, including Star Fox 64, and has since become beloved among gamers. Number 18. Kirby Superstar is a platforming video game developed by HAL Laboratory. The game features 8 different games, each with its own storyline and gameplay mechanics, making it one of the most content-packed Kirby games to date. The game's main mode, called Spring Breeze, is a remake of the original Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. Other modes include Dino Blade, where Kirby must stop a giant bird from destroying Dreamland, Gourmet Race, where Kirby races against King DDD to collect food, and The Great Cave Offensive, where Kirby must explore a labyrinthine cave system to collect treasure. The game received critical acclaim upon its release and has since been re-released on several platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. Number 17. Secret of Mana is an action role-playing game released in 1993. It was developed and published by Square and is the second installment in the Mana series. The game follows the story of a young boy who, along with his companions, sets out to save the world from an evil empire and a powerful sorcerer named Thanatos. The gameplay is a mix of real-time combat and role-playing elements, and it features a unique ring command system that allows players to easily access different spells and weapons during battles. One of the most notable features of Secret of Mana is its multiplayer mode, which allows up to 3 players to play together simultaneously, each controlling one of the 3 main characters. Secret of Mana is considered still highly regarded by fans of the series and RPGs in general. Number 16. F-Zero is a high-speed racing game that was originally released in 1990. It was developed by Nintendo's EAD division and designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takaya Imamura. The game features 4 futuristic racing machines competing against each other on various tracks around the world. The tracks feature a variety of obstacles and hazards, including jumps, loops, and sharp turns. F-Zero was notable for its use of the SNES's Mode 7 graphics technology. The game also had a unique soundtrack that complemented its fast-paced gameplay. F-Zero was very well received by critics and players, and it spawned several sequels on various Nintendo consoles. Number 15. Contra 3: The Alien Wars is a run-and-gun video game developed and published by Konami. The game is the 3rd installment in the Contra series and follows the stories of heroes Bill Riser and Lance Bean as they battle against an alien invasion. The game features fast-paced side-scrolling action with a variety of weapons and power-ups available to the player. Contra 3: The Alien Wars is known for its challenging difficulty, especially in later levels. The game also introduced several new gameplay elements, such as the ability to carry 2 weapons at once and use special weapons like the homing missiles and flamethrower. The Alien Wars has gained a cult following for its intense action, challenging gameplay, and memorable soundtrack. Number 14. Super Mario All-Stars is a compilation game that was released by Nintendo in 1993. It features remastered versions of 4 classic Mario games: Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, which was originally released only in Japan as Super Mario Bros. 2. The games in Super Mario All-Stars feature updated graphics and sound, as well as a few gameplay tweaks to improve the overall experience. Considered one of the best video game compilations of all time. It has since been re-released on various Nintendo consoles, including the Wii, Wii U, and Nintendo Switch. Number 13. Earthbound is a role-playing video game developed by Ape Inc. and HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo. The game was designed by Shigesato Itoi and is known for its quirky humor, unique setting, and unconventional gameplay. The game follows a young boy named Ness who is tasked with saving the world from an evil alien named Gygus. Along the way, he is joined by 3 other characters, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh, each with their own unique abilities and personalities. The game takes place in a modern-day setting but features many surreal and fantastical elements. Earthbound is often praised for its humour, unique setting, and memorable characters, and has developed a cult following over the years. Number 12. Super Punch-Out is a boxing video game developed and published by Nintendo. In Super Punch-Out, players control a young boxer named Little Mac as he fights his way up the ranks to become the champion of the WVBA, World Video Boxing Association. The gameplay of Super Punch-Out is similar to its predecessors, with players controlling Little Mac from a third-person perspective as he fights against a series of opponents in one-on-one matches. The game features a colourful cast of characters with unique personalities and fighting styles, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. To win a match in Super Punch-Out, players must dodge their opponent's attacks and use well-timed punches to land hits and reduce their opponent's health meter. Each opponent has a distinct fighting style, so players must learn their patterns and weaknesses to defeat them. Super Punch-Out is beloved among SNES enthusiasts and boxing game fans alike. Number 11. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is a role-playing video game developed by Square and published by Nintendo. It's the first role-playing game in the Mario franchise and combines traditional Mario elements with RPG mechanics such as turn-based battles and character progression. The game follows Mario and his allies as they attempt to stop the evil Smithy gang from taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. Along the way, they travel to various locations, meet new characters, and battle a variety of enemies. Super Mario RPG is praised for its engaging story, memorable characters, and innovative gameplay. The game has since been re-released on the SNES Classic Edition. Number 10. Super Castlevania IV is a popular action platformer game developed and published by Konami. It is the fourth game in the Castlevania series and is known for its challenging gameplay, haunting music, and impressive visuals. In Super Castlevania IV, players control the protagonist as he battles his way through Dracula's castle, fighting off hordes of monsters and supernatural creatures. The game features a variety of weapons and power-ups that players can collect to aid them in their quest. One of the standout features of Super Castlevania IV is its use of the SNES's hardware capabilities to create a visually impressive and immersive game world. The game's levels are intricately designed and filled with detailed backgrounds and foregrounds, creating a sense of depth and atmosphere. Super Castlevania IV also features a memorable soundtrack composed by Masanori Adachi and Taro Kudo, which includes haunting melodies and catchy tunes that perfectly complement the game's gothic aesthetic. Super Castlevania IV is considered a classic. Number 9. Megaman X, released in 1993, was developed by Capcom and was a spin-off of the original Mega Man series, featuring a new protagonist named X. The game introduced new gameplay mechanics such as wall jumping and dashing, and had a darker and more mature storyline compared to the original series. The plot revolved around X, a new type of robot who was designed with the ability to think and feel emotions. X teams up with his mentor Zero to stop the evil Sigma and his group of rogue Reploids, who threaten the peace between humans and robots. The game was well received by critics and fans, and it spawned a successful franchise that continues to this day. Number 8. Street Fighter II Turbo is a classic fighting game released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1993. It was an updated version of the original Street Fighter II game and included new features and gameplay mechanics. It is an updated version of the original Street Fighter II game, which features faster gameplay, new moves, and additional playable characters. The game includes 12 playable characters, each with their unique fighting style and special moves. The objective is to defeat all of the other characters in the game, including 4 boss characters, to become the champion. Street Fighter II Turbo was hugely popular and is considered one of the most important and influential video games of all time. Number 7. Super Mario Kart is a popular racing video game and was the first game in the Mario Kart series. In Super Mario Kart, players can choose one of 8 characters from the Mario franchise to race in a go-kart on various tracks. The gameplay involves using power-ups and weapons to slow down opponents or gain an advantage in the race. The game features several different modes, including Grand Prix, Time Trial and Battle, which offers a unique gameplay experience. Super Mario Kart was a critical and commercial success. Its success led to the creation of a popular series of racing games with numerous sequels and spin-offs released on various Nintendo consoles and handhelds over the years. Number 6. Final Fantasy VI is a role-playing video game developed and published by Square. The game is known as Final Fantasy III in North America, as it was the 3rd game in the series to be released in that region. Final Fantasy VI features a large and diverse cast of characters, each with their own unique abilities and backstories. The game's plot revolves around an empire seeking to harness magical power to conquer the world, and a group of rebels who band together to stop them. The game's storyline is considered one of the most complex and compelling in the series, and it is known for its memorable characters, emotional moments, and epic set pieces. The game's graphics, sound and gameplay were all highly praised, and it is often regarded as one of the best games in the entire Final Fantasy series. It has since been re-released on various platforms, including the Game Boy Advance, the Wii Virtual Console, and more recently on the PC, iOS and Android services. Number 5. Chrono Trigger is a classic role-playing video game that was originally released in 1995. The game was developed by Square and was designed by a team of industry veterans, including Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of the Final Fantasy series, Yuji Horii, the creator of the Dragon Quest series, and Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball manga series. The game's story revolves around a young man named Chrono who lives in the kingdom of Gaia in the year 1000 AD. After meeting a mysterious girl named Marle at a festival, Chrono finds himself travelling through time to various eras, including the prehistoric past, a post-apocalyptic future, and the Middle Ages, in an effort to save the world from a powerful alien entity known as Lavos. Chrono Trigger is widely regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time, thanks to its engaging story, memorable characters, innovative gameplay mechanics, and stunning graphics and music. The game has a devoted fan base that continues to play and discuss the game more than 25 years after its initial release. Number 4. Donkey Kong Country is a classic side-scrolling platformer game developed by Rare and published by Nintendo. It was the first game in the Donkey Kong Country series. In the game, players control Donkey Kong and his sidekick Diddy Kong as they attempt to recover their stolen banana hoard from the evil King K. Rool and his Kremling army. The game features a variety of levels set in different environments, including jungles, caves, factories, and more. One of the most notable features of Donkey Kong Country was its use of pre-rendered 3D graphics, which were then converted into 2D sprites. This gave the game a unique look that was quite different from other games of the time. The game was also praised for its tight controls, challenging gameplay, and memorable soundtrack composed by David Wise. Donkey Kong Country was a huge success for Nintendo, selling over 9 million copies worldwide and spawning numerous sequels and spin-offs. Number 3. Super Metroid is a critically acclaimed action-adventure video game developed and published by Nintendo. It was first released in Japan in 1994 and later in North America and Europe in the same year. The game is the 3rd installment in the Metroid series and the direct sequel to Metroid 2: Return of Samus. Super Metroid follows the stories of Samus Aran, a bounty hunter who travels to the planet Zebes to retrieve a stolen Metroid. Throughout the game, players explore the vast world of Zebes, battle various enemies, and acquire new power-ups and abilities to progress through the game's non-linear gameplay. The game's mechanics include exploration, puzzle solving, and platforming, all while battling bosses and enemies. Super Metroid was highly praised for its graphics, sound design, level design, and gameplay mechanics. It has become a landmark title in the video game industry, influencing many subsequent games and even the creation of its own subgenre, Metroidvania. Super Metroid remains a popular game among retro gaming enthusiasts and is widely regarded as one of the best games of all time. Number 2. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is a classic action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo. It is the third game in the Legend of Zelda series, and it follows the adventure of Link as he travels between two parallel worlds, the Light World and the Dark World, in order to rescue Princess Zelda and defeat the evil sorcerer Ganon. The game features a top-down perspective and incorporates puzzle solving, exploration and combat elements. Link must collect various items and weapons, including a sword, a boomerang and bow, to navigate the game's world and defeat enemies. He can also use magical abilities such as teleportation and invisibility to aid him in his quest. A Link to the Past is widely acclaimed for its gameplay, graphics and sound design, and it has since become beloved in the gaming industry. The game's success has led to the creation of numerous sequels and spin-offs in the Legend of Zelda franchise, and it remains a popular title amongst gamers and critics alike. Number 1. Super Mario World is a classic 2D side-scrolling platformer video game. It was first released in Japan in 1990 and later worldwide in 1991. The game follows Mario and his dinosaur-like friend Yoshi as they travel through the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from the evil Bowser and his Koopalings. Super Mario World features a variety of levels, each with different obstacles and enemies to overcome, as well as hidden secrets to discover. Super Mario World was a groundbreaking game for its time, featuring vibrant graphics, intricate level design, and a range of power-ups and enemies that helped to keep the gameplay fresh and engaging. The game introduced several new elements to the Mario series, such as Yoshi, who can be ridden by Mario and also swallow enemies to gain new abilities. Super Mario World has had a significant impact on the platformer genre. Praised for its colourful graphics, engaging gameplay and memorable music, it has sold over 20 million copies worldwide and has been re-released on various Nintendo consoles over the years. Let me know what you think of these game choices and how well you think ChatGPT was able to describe the top 50 Super Nintendo games of all time that it generated. Is AI going to destroy and replace us all? Subscribe, comment below and watch my video on this Super Nintendo add-on now.